The average first-time male marathoner finishes the race in roughly 4 hours and 30 minutes. I want to beat that by 1 hour. Welcome to the series where I attempt to break 3:30 in my first ever marathon. There are no guarantees, there's only process and hard work. Let's discuss week 2 of learning to suffer for a 3:30 marathon. Coming off of week 1 and entering into week 2, I felt physically fantastic. My legs were great, my recovery numbers were fantastic, my resting heart rate was right where I wanted to be. There was nothing indicating that I was physically burnt out. The story of this week, however, is all about the mental side of things. And honestly, this week mentally, I've struggled quite a bit. Now, I don't know if it's because I knew that at the end of this week, I had a progressive long run of 17 kilometers. And I can't remember if I mentioned in the last video, but it's been a long time since I've even ran 15 kilometers, which we did last week. So having that at the end of this week probably played on my mind a little bit. Something I've learned over my journey is that these weeks where my mind is fighting against me, it's trying to get me to do the opposite of what I want to do, this is where I'll grow. This is the type of week where I get to push back and prove to myself that I am capable. The only thing I have to do is get out that door, start putting one foot in front of the other, and just prove to myself by doing the action that the voices in my head are wrong. And that's how I get through these types of weeks where mentally I want to give up, honestly. Like there was plenty of times this week where I was running and I regretted putting myself out here on YouTube, committing to a goal and committing to documenting the process, because there is uncertainty around this. There's no guarantee that I'm even going to be able to complete the marathon, let alone complete it in my time zone, which is 3 hours and 30 minutes or less. So that's also playing on my mind as well. But I'm just being raw and vulnerable and open with you guys here. That's kind of where my mental state was this week. Now, a change that I did make this week is nutrition wise. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I am trying to lose a little bit of weight through this marathon training block. My initial plan was to try to lose a pound a week or have a 500 calorie a day deficit that I thought might not really hurt my performance and recovery. But as I ended in this week and got through a few harder training sessions, I felt a little bit sluggish. And I figured, why not just try to up the calories and see if that helps? And I did, and it did help. So my new plan here is to go like 250 calories a day deficit, but also eat strategically around my long runs and hard workouts. And this is a whole video in and of itself, so we'll talk about that later on. If you're interested, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And since you're down there already, it would really help the channel out a ton if you could hit that like button and drop a comment in the comment section down below, kind of outlining what your thought process is when it comes to losing weight with running. I know I've done a lot of content on that, but I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Now, I want to share a lesson with you folks that you kind of maybe got the gist of so far, but something that I really picked up on through my long run and that was on my mind quite a bit after the fact is that through this entire week, I was intimidated by this long run. I didn't think I could do it. And honestly, that morning that I woke up and had to do my long run, I didn't want to do it. I was going to push it out a few days or maybe even not do it or just do a modified version of it. But the reality is, if I did that, I would have let the voices inside my head win. And like I just said, we need to prove those voices wrong by putting in the action and getting out that door and start putting one foot in front of the other. But that didn't immediately work for me. I got out that door, started doing my warm up. The voices only got louder, to be quite honest. So I just decided to start running and see what happens. And as I started running, the voices didn't go away. I was about 5 kilometers into my run and my wife texted me, and this was the thing that I needed to get through it. It was a very simple thing, could be kind of cliche, but it's what I needed to hear. And she said that I do not give myself credit for what I am capable of. I am more capable than I believe I am, and that anything that I think that I haven't been able to achieve, if I put in the work, I have been able to. And this is a lesson for you folks as well, because that is true for all of us. We are much more capable than we give ourselves credit for. We just need to actively put in the work, stick to a plan, and get out that door and defeat the voices. The voices, they're evil, but we can get through them. And that little reminder of I'm more capable than I give myself credit for is all I needed. And after that point of the long run, I was completely dialed in, completely focused, and was able to complete my long run in a much quicker time. This is the power of the mind, folks. We have to feed it what we want it to think. We have the control over that. The mind does not have control over us. We are what control it. We just have to actively show it that we are in control. And I might have made that sound easier than it actually is, because it's an extremely tough thing to do, but it is something we are capable of if we continuously do it. The voices may never stop through your entire activity, but if you complete that activity in spite of the voices being there, that's even more fuel for the fire to show the voices that I'm going to do whatever I want to do, regardless of what you're telling me. And I realize this might make me sound crazy, but I think we can all relate to that, where there's a little voice in our head telling us what we can and can't do, and sometimes we allow it to control us when we have to be in control of it. So with that lesson out of the way, let's start to go through my week of training, starting with day 1, Monday. This was the first real tempo session of the entire training block, and we started off with a fun one. They call this the 3-2-1 workout, which, as the name suggests, it's 3K fast, 2K faster, and 1K the fastest. We started off with a 2K warm-up to get things moving in the right way and get everything kind of loosey-goosey, as you may say. Now, the plan called for the first 3K to be performed at around 5 minutes and 5 seconds per kilometer, the next 2 kilometers at 5-minute flat per kilometer, and then the last 1 kilometer at 4 minutes and 55 seconds. I did them faster. 3K in 4 minutes and 59 seconds per kilometer on average, the 2K in 4 minute and 44 second per kilometer on average, and 1K in 4 minute and 38 second per kilometer. I felt really great during this session. My average heart rate for this was 146 beats per minute, and this was the perfect way to start the week with confidence. Moving into Tuesday, we needed to absorb that training, so we did a 7.5K easy run. Well, I didn't decide that. The Run AI, or the generation of the plan, decided that for me. And like I said, it was to absorb that training, the sweet nectar from the tempo run of yesterday. Now, the shoe of choice, another Brooks Beauty. The Brooks Glycerin Max was the weapon of choice to take things easy on my legs. Such a fantastic shoe for exactly that. Average pace of 5 minutes and 59 seconds per kilometer with an average heart rate of 126 beats per minute. Low and slow, baby. Wednesday, we get back into the speed things. We're doing some 800-meter repeats. Love me some speed training, and this one was another fun one. 1.4 kilometer warm-up, odd number, but I'll just have to trust it. Then we went into 6 straight reps of 800 meters at 4 minutes 30 per second per kilometer, all the way to 4 minutes and 50 second per kilometer, within that range. Generally, I think people opt to do these types of specific speed workouts on a track, which maybe I will do in the future, but I just love running along these trails, so I opted to do that. Now, even though there are quite a few rolling hills, it kind of just adds to the thrill. Yeah, I didn't mean it for that to rhyme, but it did. And also, it didn't really hurt my performance. And actually, after doing this workout, Rana suggested that I increase my pace targets. Thank you, Rana. I really needed that little confidence boost. Here are the rep splits, and as you can see, the slowest one was 4 minutes and 37 seconds per kilometer, and that was the first one, so things were chugged along quite well. Average heart rate here was 143 beats per minute, average pace of 5 minutes and 44 seconds per kilometer, which included the warm-up and cool down. And I definitely was feeling the effort by rep 6, but it was in a good way, in a controlled way. And the shoe of choice, once again, the Brooks Hyperion Max 2. Thursday, 7.5K easy run to absorb that beautiful training. Now, today we actually used the Vomero 18. Something I just want to note is that what I'm noticing with the Vomero 18 feels kind of like cheap on foot. I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels less premium than the other shoes that I'm currently have in the rotation from other brands. So I don't know if it's like a Nikeism or something, but still enjoying the shoes, still treating me well. But compared to some of the other shoes that I have in my rotation, it just feels a little bit cheaply made. So I'm not sure. I'll try to quantify that a bit more, but maybe I'll never be able to quantify it. Maybe it's just my own subjective experience. But regardless, this run, average heart rate 131 beats per minute, average pace 6 minutes and 1 second per kilometer. Friday, the progressive long run. Now, as I mentioned during the intro, I was pretty psyched out for this run in a bad way. So essentially how this workout works is you do 17 kilometers, the first 6 kilometers at a like a fastish pace, the next 5.5 kilometers at a bit of a faster pace, and then the last 4.5 kilometers of work you do at an even faster pace. So you're negative splitting the workout, and then you do a cool down. So like I mentioned, my mental state for this was not truly there at the start. Wasn't really there for the first like 30 minutes of the workout, to be quite honest. The thing is, my legs and my body felt up to it. It's just that there was some like disconnect between what I thought I could do and what I could actually do. A bit of a pesky paradox, if you will. And just looking at the performance here, you can see that I was more than capable of it. Like, look at these numbers. And I just want this to be a reminder to all of you. You can do it. Do not let your mind hold you back. Push to get out that door and start putting one foot in front of the other and prove yourself wrong. Because I had zero idea that I was capable of putting this workout into play right now. I did not think that I was even remotely capable, but we did it. So it's just a nice reminder to myself and to all of you that we are more capable than we give ourselves credit for. So as I mentioned last week, I use these long runs to also practice my fueling strategy. So I had a Morton 100 gel around the 50-minute mark, and then a goo gel around an hour 15. This strategy worked really well, and my energy levels through the entire thing felt fantastic. For this, I used the New Balance SC Elite V4, which I think, unfortunately, might be nearing end of life. So I need another plated long run shoe or plated workout shoe, or a shoe that I could test to see what will be capable for my marathon racing shoe. So we have a lot of fun testing to do here. Lack of fun. So if anyone knows anyone that can send me some, just joking. But in reality, any shoe companies want to hook me up, I would be more than happy. The average pace for this thing, 5 minutes and 25 seconds per kilometer, with an average heart rate of 142 beats per minute and a finishing time of an hour and 32 minutes. At the end of it, it was super, super awesome. Felt so good afterwards, but knee was a little bit iffy, but we'll talk about that in a little bit here. Saturday, planned rest day, but I didn't. So like I mentioned last week, I don't want to have any real fully off rest days unless I'm really feeling something. But even then, I think I need to actively move my body. But it may not always be running. It could be cycling, it could be walking, it could be golfing, just something. For me, pure rest days, just like I said, don't really work. On Saturday, I did a 6.5K easy run in the Brooks Glycerin Max. Brooks is getting a lot of love so far early on in this marathon training block. Very, very cool. I was very controlled, very low heart rate, and then I took in the scenes while walking 18 holes at golf. So I actually ended up putting like 26,000 steps in for that day. So yeah, quite the rest day, right, guys? On to Sunday, 7.5K easy run that was planned, and it was a nice way to end off the weekend to celebrate my first Father's Day. Now, earlier on in this week, I did pick up the Rebel E5, but unfortunately, I didn't have any workouts that I thought would be good for it. And Saturday, my legs were just a little bit too beat up, so didn't want to take it up for that. But today, Sunday, felt pretty darn good. So I put it on, and the thing feels so light on foot. It's insane. It's going to slot in perfectly for that lightweight daily trainer slot. Definitely not enough cushion and comfort for it to be used for an actual easy day shoe, but that's okay. I kept my heart rate very controlled, kept it conversational, and there's going to be a video coming soon on the Rebel, because that thing, I think it's going to be good for a lot of things. Still a little bit unsure how it's going to be for the snappier stuff. So that's something we're going to test out with, but we'll see. Average pace for this one, 5 minutes and 41 seconds per kilometer with an average heart rate of 127 beats per minute. Honestly, I'm really proud of how I remained disciplined and resilient regardless of what was going on this week. I'm committed to my workouts. I got them done. I completed them faster than I thought I was capable of doing. And I proved to myself once again that I just have to put in the work and stop letting the voices control me. But something that I need to get better at is incorporating mobility and strength, because I did have a little bit of knee pain after that long run, like I mentioned, and I think it's more on a tight muscle side of things. So the quads, if they start getting tight, or the calves, or just whatever, something down there, if that gets tight, it starts to cause knee pain. And the reason I think it's muscular is that once I actually got out there and started running the day after this knee pain kind of started, it went away after a couple of kilometers. And I did a lot of like foam rolling and stretching, and today the pain is completely gone. So I'm pretty sure it was just muscular, tight muscles, but the reality is I'm putting my body and asking of it a lot. It's going to start to break down if I don't at least take care of it a little bit. I need to do some mobility work and some strength training, and hopefully that will be enough to carry me through this marathon training block. All right, folks, another week into the bank. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. I really appreciate every single one of you, and I will catch you on the next one.